I'm Barb Laufersweiler, Director of Digital Collections and Digitization at the University of Oklahoma Libraries. Lina Ortega, my co-author, is not able to participate in the recording or Q&A. Lina is Associate Curator of the Western History Collections at the University of Oklahoma Libraries, Subject Specialist Librarian for OU's Native American Studies Department, and a member of the Sac and Fox Nation. Our presentation is Indigenous Data Ethics and University of Oklahoma Digital Collections. I come to you from the University of Oklahoma on land that was the traditional home of the Hasinais, Kedu Nation, and Kirikiris, Wichita, and affiliated tribes, and originally shared by many indigenous nations, including the Kiowa, Numunu, Comanche, and the Naisha and Ndi Apache, as a place of gathering, exchange, and migration. Today, 39 tribal nations dwell in the state of Oklahoma, many as a result of settler and colonial policies that were designed to remove and assimilate Native people. The University of Oklahoma recognizes the historical connection our university has with its indigenous community. We acknowledge, honor, and respect the diverse indigenous peoples connected to this land. We fully recognize, support, and advocate for the sovereign rights of all of Oklahoma's 39 tribal nations. OU libraries must do relationship building and ethics of care with tribal communities at scale because our special collections hold materials about and by many tribal nations in Oklahoma. We have been learning about and considering different approaches and tools that support collaboration with tribal communities in our digital collections. Most recently, we've learned about the CARE principles for Indigenous Data Governance. We think the principles and related tools can be very helpful. Oklahoma is home to 39 federally recognized sovereign nations. A few of these tribal nations were traditionally located on this land. The majority were forcibly relocated here from across the United States as a result of settler and colonial policies. This image shows the tribal statistical areas in Oklahoma from US Census data. University of Oklahoma Libraries, Western History Collections, and the related digital collections include material by and about Native American peoples and cultures and non-Native settlement and development in the Trans-Mississippi American West. They include oral history, audio recordings, and interview transcripts, extensive photograph collections, the papers of many tribal nations and tribal leaders, recordings of the Indians for Indians radio show broadcast from the OU campus in the 1940s through 1970s. Until recently, OU's Western History Collections took the usual approach of acting as the authority on the content and use of materials in the collections that represent and or were created by Indigenous people. A few years ago, we developed a terms of use page for our primary digital collections platform to which the Western History digital collections will be migrating. Our focus at the time was more open terms of use for all our digital collections. We included an expectation that people using the materials would not do so in ways harmful to Indigenous people, and that users are responsible to respect the privacy rights of the people who are the subjects of the works. This addressed our concerns at the time for the digital collections. For several years, the Western History Collections staff have prioritized building relationships with tribal nations and families. They work together on specific collections to identify individuals represented, describe, transcribe, and or translate, and identify any items to exclude or remove from the digital collections. In 2017, OU Libraries Special Collections and Digital Collections staff attended a workshop for the NEH-funded project Community Archiving of Native American Music. We learned about tools for collaborative governance of Indigenous cultural heritage and digital collections, specifically traditional knowledge labels and the content management system Mukurtu. Traditional knowledge labels were developed by the Local Context Project about 10 years ago. As the localcontext.org website says, quote, "The TK labels identify and clarify community-specific rules and responsibilities regarding access and future use of traditional knowledge," unquote. Here are some example TK labels. The Mukurtu content management system is an open source platform managed by the Center for Digital Scholarship and Curation at Washington State University. It was developed in collaboration with Indigenous communities to manage and share digital cultural heritage materials. It uses TK labels and associated access protocols. Recently, OU's Western History Collection staff began collaborating on a Mukurtu instance in a multi-institution project funded by the Doris Duke Foundation. This project includes digitally reuniting the 1960s era Doris Duke Native American oral history collections of recordings and transcripts held by 7 universities in US. When the platform is launched, access to and use of all cultural heritage items in the Mukurtu instance will be determined by each tribal community through the use of community protocols and TK labels. TK labels are not meant to be applied broadly. Mukurtu is not our current platform. Having learned what's possible, our goal has changed. Now we would like to signal in OU's digital collections repository that we acknowledge Native American rights and interests and are open to collaboration with tribal communities. In early 2021, OU faculty and OU library staff participated in discussions with universities across the US about Indigenous data in repositories. These discussions were convened by Stephanie Russo-Carroll of the University of Arizona and Jane Anderson of New York University and localcontext.org, the home of TK labels. The scope was much wider, all data. This is where we first encountered the CARE principles for Indigenous data. The CARE principles for Indigenous Data Governance were drafted in 2018 by the RDA International Indigenous Data Sovereignty Interest Group and released by the Global Indigenous Data Alliance. The focus is supporting the rights, interests, and values of Indigenous people in data of all kinds. The CARE principles were built on and addressed gaps in the FAIR principles for open data: be findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable. The CARE principles for Indigenous data governance are, very briefly, collective benefit, authority to control, responsibility, and ethics. The full statement of the CARE principles is on the Global Indigenous Data Alliance website. Here are resources to learn more about CARE and the latest developments, and you'll have access to the slides. The CARE principles are meant to be adopted as repository policy, like the FAIR principles for open data. Stephanie Russo-Carroll and Jane Anderson recommend these initial steps for repositories. Use the cultural institution notices from the Local Context Project and develop a brief statement addressing Indigenous data sovereignty. Cultural institution notices are part of the same tool set as traditional knowledge labels and were developed by Local Contexts. There are 2 cultural institution notices: the Open to Collaboration Notice and the Attribution Incomplete Notice. The Open to Collaboration Notice says, our institution is committed to the development of new modes of collaboration, engagement, and partnership with Indigenous peoples for the care and stewardship of past and future heritage collections. The Open to Collaboration Notice can be displayed on a digital collections platform. The Attribution Incomplete Notice says, collections and items in our institution have incomplete, inaccurate, and/or missing attribution. We are using this notice to clearly identify this material so that it can be updated or corrected by communities of origin. Our institution is committed to collaboration and partnerships to address this problem of incorrect or missing attribution. The Attribution Incomplete Notice can be displayed at the digital collection level. At OU libraries, this approach fits our goals to acknowledge Indigenous rights and interests and show openness to collaborate. Our first step is to build consensus about applying one or both of the local contexts cultural institution notices to the digital collections at OU, and then do it. The next step will be to develop a brief statement about Indigenous data sovereignty in our digital collections. These actions will meet some key needs at the University of Oklahoma libraries and increase awareness of the CARE principles at OU. They also contribute to wider awareness of efforts to support Indigenous rights and interests in information held by non-tribal institutions around the world. Thank you. Questions?